to go really quick, so I'm happy to start now.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'd like to basically a brief about us. We've been in the financial markets world for nearly a decade. We've been helping institutions basically to run their entire business, open operations on it, whether they're brokers, asset managers, etc. And we've been serving the banks, brokerage firms, etc. We really have been focusing on the professional users, to say the least, not the retail or the general public. But this was really a very good subject matter for us to lay down some attention on it, which is the retail and the public market. So what is innovation? Now, well, based on the practical definitions of innovation, we were able to basically extract that we would like to use something that we've already created and use it innovatively and in a simplified way to provide it for the consumers. And based on the current challenges, which we all know, we would like to use that as an opportunity to port some of the advanced professional tools we've been doing for the retail investors and avail it on public portals. We already have a few things we have already developed, but now we're happy to put that on exchanges, websites, public portals, etc. Stuff that looks like this: value analysis, technical analysis, using some AI engines to provide the users with some real-time data, and we will discuss. I'm going to show you live demonstrations in a few seconds. So we propose having some fundamental analysis. We have the financial statements of every single publicly traded company in the world, basically on the platform. So we can avail the UAE ones, especially the ADX ones, on the portal with drill down and filtrations. And I would like to see basically a company that is making a profit for the past X years and so forth. So you can do some filtrations. Technical analysis. For the ones who know how to do it, that's great. You just need the tools. But if you don't, then we can actually have something called, we call it the technical health, using AI that can tell you on a technical perspective, this company is doing well or not, from a momentum perspective or from other things. You don't really need to be a technical analyst to know the technical status of the company. The UAE specifically has launched derivatives, and investors understanding what derivatives are is fundamental. Being able to drill down on instruments and underlying instruments, and then eventually seeing the derivatives, and then eventually understanding what spreads mean, and do we have a good spread or a bad spread, and all those types of indicators without having to calculate it and to be shown in front of the clients. From a workflow perspective, it's simply putting those as widgets onto the portals of the ADX website and SCA's website. Switching straight into the demonstration. Basically, since we have already the financial data of all the companies, it can be laid out and displayed in any way or form. In an example like this is Aldar. We have the annual reports, we have quarterly reports, and we have the company profile, and we have information about pretty much everything. Then we can also go through value analysis and eventually going through that numbers and visually displaying it in an intuitive way, showing how's it doing over a timeline. We also have capabilities for doing technical insights, where we'll be able to go and drill down into the technical picture using the AI engines, or value analysis at the same time. This is where we do the screeners. For the more retail or more astute investors, they can get certain tools such as technical analysis tools that they'll be able to do it and apply certain things on it. Even if the international vendors may not support some instruments, since we're hosting it in-house, we can bring those tools straight to the investors right away and availing it for the consumer. So basically the pitch is to taking existing tools we already have developed and simplifying them and availing them to the end user, and making it really simple for people to see the big picture, especially now that we have the derivatives in place and understanding what it means. And if I'm going to buy an ETF, what are the constituents of that ETF? What is the fair value of that ETF? And going into the fundamental analysis. That should be it from our side. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Shihab. Now we'll leave the floor for questions from the judges. Please, the floor is yours.
Yes, hi Shihab, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Yes, Shihab, may I ask about if you have like forecasting modules, including this charting for investors?
Yes.
I mean, forecasting module.
Yes, the forecasting
yes, go ahead.
modules. The forecasting modules are available through the AI engine, where we apply predictive analysis on a multi-time frame analysis. So you can have forecasting over the few minutes or hours or days or even weeks. Those are available. We use sophisticated tools for that. Of course, applying, running those tools is really too techy, but we already extract the outputs out of these tools and we display them in meaningful grids and meaningful charts. And those are the ones we are also trying to take forward and displaying it for the end consumers. Now, it depends on what the portal wishes to display. Some portals say, look, I would like to put some predictive analysis that may entitle that the end users that this is something that is going to happen for sure. So that may put some certain liabilities on the portal that's already putting this. So there's always a thin line between giving the end user the tool to play with it themselves, to see what would the output be, versus simply giving it to them on a golden plate and then blame the website that, look, it went down, but didn't go up as expected. But also the UAE markets, all of them now have short selling. They have derivatives. They have a few other instruments that are out there. So being able to actually see the technical picture and do predictive analysis is very important as well. We try to introduce simple to use tools available. The hard to use tools that professional users already use, they're already available. They're already used.
Shihab, I have a question. This is Pooja from SCA. Do you have any, the basic idea of ADX is to make the data look more simple for the investor, because it is retail investor. Some of the investors may actually don't have any trading experience. They may be first-time investors. They may only be investing in funds. I'm trying to give an idea about the kind of people who would be actually using the data. So do you have any prior experience, or your company has any prior experience in developing such frameworks which can simplify, or I would rather say oversimplify the...
Yes, so we have developed a trading platform. We've developed a platform for banks and brokers and asset managers. We provide, reports that are, extremely complex, much simplified in pie charts and a few other things for them from back office perspective, etc. So the platform is there, it's mature, it's used by banks and brokers. But we also have done something for CNBC Arabiya, for example. CNBCArabiya.com has been running onto the Zagtrader data feeds for quite some time, but they've already wanted to display only factual stuff, fundamental data and non-opinionated data, because that's what they wanted. We've been doing this for over a decade so far.
Hi, this is Umar.
Integrated with the global data vendors. So we have data vendors that provide data, news, credit ratings, fundamental analysis, pretty much aggregating the data from all around the world and mapping it into issuer level data. So, I mean, we don't really see sometimes a company listed in DFM and ADX simultaneously, but we will soon see a company listed in ADX, but also listed maybe on New York or somewhere else. So the fundamentals analysis of that company, although it's listed in ADX, could be probably to go back to the issuer where the company has originated from, because that's the financial statements for that. And being able to do, we have developed more sophisticated tools than this, and those can be available as well for the consumers, such as arbitrage tools. I mean, how cheap or expensive is the stock trading at this venue versus the other venue? And also, these tools are all available and can all be availed to the consumers, one step at a time. In addition to gamifications and game engines and market simulations as well. Sorry, Omar, were you trying to say something? I apologize. I probably interrupted you.
No problem. Here, Omar from ADX. So, how many click to reach to the end information? How many click the consumer will have to do until you reach the fine information?
This is where the art comes in developing the user experience. Now, since the information is available, we need just simply to define what the end result would like to have it. So if you would like to get a a simple report talking about the technical picture of a specific instrument is just one click, because it's just a report already pre-compiled and refreshed every few minutes or every few hours about the instrument, for example, or it could be in real time. From a fundamental analysis perspective, there might be screeners already most popularly used, and then it's pre-populated. Just need to click show me, and then it just shows you. And then, but it also can allow the end consumer to change the parameters and save those options for them to come back. We use, it won't be just. Not all the consumers are the same, so we will also allow consumers to save their own settings, so when they go back, they can use the screeners in the last state they left them, so they're used to it. So the website also becomes like a research portal, giving you what you needed with a click or two, because it knows who you are and it knows what on your watch list, and you don't need to search for it every single time you log in.
So did you consider in your design if the consumer will anticipate the mistake?
What kind of a mistake? I mean, do you mean they anticipate the mistake as I thought it's going to go high, but it went low in this case?
No. In the term of design, in terms of like reaching the information,
Yes.
If I am the first time users, to this app or to this website, so I might do a mistake, I want X information, but I couldn't find it, I couldn't reach it. So how you design,
Yes,
within the design, anticipate the mistake, correct or asking the user. So what do you do in this area?
Okay. We actually have predefined screeners already available. So users would, if users are randomly clicking, they would definitely click on hand-picked defined screeners, even if they don't know what they're looking for. So if they click on something, I'm going to show you the most quality stocks from fundamentally, or the most prominent stocks to go higher, or the most prominent stocks to go lower if you intend to short it, for example, from a technical perspective. So the predefined screeners would allow the users to start on the right foot, if I want to say, and then eventually they should be able to know if they want to tweak those settings or not. Now, apart from that, the users will be able to also set up price alerts and stops, basically. So if, let's say I bought it through a broker, and I would like to go into this portal and say, look, I have already bought it at this price, so I need this portal to alert me where my stops should be, and the system would recommend for you where the stops should be, and then you can click on it, and the system will alert you and send you an SMS or an email or even WhatsApp message. It depends on the portal's appetite on how the communication channels are enabled on it. So it has mobile apps as well, and we have mobile apps, and we have web apps, and we have information. So it's a careful blend between data, technical, fundamental tools such as sophisticated AI tools, and availability of real-time calculation tools available. And because we have all of that, in addition to trading systems being able to simulate the environment in real time, the clients will be able to even trade with paper money. So it goes into a game engine approach as well.
In terms of sorry.
تفضل عمر كمل تفضل.
In terms of the database, are you dealing with flat files, SQL database, big data structure? So what the type of database?
We use multiple databases, to say the least. Fundamental data, we structure it and we insert it all into an SQL database. That would actually help us in querying data and basically getting the data filtered with very specific requirements. On a technical perspective, when you talk, we store tick by tick data in flat databases and in real-time basis. Now, when it comes to streaming the data to the end consumers and using that data into AI, it goes through multiple databases. First of all, it gets into what we call a pre-aggregated data. So before we save the data, we do certain calculations on it, and then we store it. And eventually, when we go back and check it, I mean, if you have to always go back to raw data and check the data, and the website will be extremely slow, and everything will be sluggish because you have to recalculate everything just to come up with the answer that will take you to the second stage of analysis. So during the data harvesting stage, we aggregate a lot of data and pre-calculate certain matters and store it into the data. Now, from a performance perspective, we use memory caching as well. I mean, there's a lot of databases used into the platform where information is stored in multiple ways. And the middleware will be able to cooperate, to link between all of them into the decision-making engine. And there's multiple engines as well. Did I answer your question correctly, Omar? I'm not sure if that was the. Okay, thank you.
Khalid, you had a question, I think.
Same question, almost same question.
Okay. All is good from the judges. Any other questions? We can. Ma'moon. Yeah, sure.
Yes, Shihab, what's about the artificial intelligence tools? Do you have any artificial intelligence tools in this product? I mean, are you allowing algo trading? Are you allowing?
Yes. Well, okay. We have algorithmic trading. We provide that for institutions and institutional users, and those algo trading algos available. Basically, you can instruct them to buy VWAP, TWAP, 1/3 market volume, etc. But we have already availed into the general public just recently something we call TCA, transaction cost analysis. So let's say if I have a big position I would like to dispose into the market, would that how is the best way to even sell that position? Should I just dump it into the market or wait and do it over 3 days, 4 days, or 5 days? And what are the best times to even sell that? So availability of these professional tools are also available that we can discuss it. TCA is one of them. The other, but TCA has quantitative analysis. It doesn't have artificial intelligence. There's actually a gray area between quantitative analysis and artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, sometimes you get outputs because you just don't know where the inputs mean together, but you eventually get the output. Quantitative analysis obviously is quite different, but we apply both. From the artificial intelligence, we use it if we would like for advanced trading terminals, which we can port it eventually into a much simplified version for end users. AI would help you determine the end result you wish. I would like to maximize my trades and maximize my winning trades versus my losing trades over the next X period. And I'd like to backtest that and eventually feed it with as many inputs as possible. These inputs could be technical, could be fundamental, could be mixed, and let the AI engine tell you what are the parameters per input that you need to look at so that it will be able to generate the signals for you. Sometimes the signals are not profit making. Sometimes the signals are for risk management purposes or for liquidity provisioning purposes. My mandate is to put as many orders as possible into the market, but I really don't care making too much money from each trade, but I don't want to lose, for example. So what kind of parameters do I need to use? If I have to go into the brute force method of trying every single possibility when I do certain backtesting, that would take me thousands of years to go through that with massive data. With AI, we're able to reduce that to a few seconds.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Shahab, hi, this is Khalid from SCA.
Hi, Khalid.
What screens do you have for the mutual funds?
Mutual funds, we don't have much screens because the only funds we have for mutual funds are company profiles and the price feeds related to it. For ETFs, because the disclosure is higher, we have the constituents as well for exchange traded funds. And for that, we can apply fair value, and we can even apply real-time NAV calculations. And this is something we already provide for our major clients. So you can build your own private ETF in a way and not avail it on an exchange if you wish to have your own calculations, or you can build your own index. So what we can also provide is, look, I'm very much interested in creating my own customized index. I want to apply X% for this company, XY% for that company. This is not a regular investor that we're talking about. This is like a more advanced investor. But from ETF's perspective, is this ETF trading price today, the bid and the ask in the market, expensive, or is it cheaper to buy the ETF and eventually sell it when the price goes right, for example? Those real-time calculations and fair price calculations, we already have them available and we can avail them. And those are the same technologies used by market makers, frankly. I mean, we have some market making clients as well. So those are the same ways that market makers use those types of calculations and put their own spreads so that they will be able to price their own instruments into the markets and sometimes make their own decisions on it. Now there's an interesting project that we are trying to even develop here. It depends on SCA if they avail it or not. So we have brokers that have standard APIs that allow a portal hosted by the exchange or SCA to query the positions those clients have with multiple brokers so that they will be able to consolidate their holdings into a single location and eventually use that single location to analyze their holdings at multiple brokers within the same country and eventually route their orders into those destinations. So in a way, you can even bring in the transactional nature along with the analytical nature in one place if possible as well.